Second day of testimony as prosecutors grill him for lying about his alibi.
You as a lawyer and prosecutor are up at 9:02, finally having your phone in your hand, moving around and making all these phone calls to manufacture an alibi. Is that not true?
I never manufactured any alibi in any way, shape, or form because I did not and would not hurt my wife and my child.
So, will his testimony help or hurt him? Let's ask New York-based trial attorney Rebecca Rose Woodland and Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Good morning to you both. Let's start with you, Greg. Do you think it was wise for Murdaugh? It seems always advisable that defendants do not take the stand. Almost always is the rule. There are exceptions. Was this an exception? Was it wise for Murdaugh to take the stand?
It was foolhardy in the extreme, but I think he realized that the jury was going to convict him because the evidence is so powerful and overwhelming. So he decided, why don't I throw the dice, take the witness stand, and try to con the jury. I'm here in South Carolina, and I can tell you people are fascinated, if not obsessed. They watch gavel-to-gavel coverage every day. They know the ins and outs, the testimony, and the evidence. I have yet to meet someone who is not absolutely convinced of Murdaugh's guilt. And his problem is, by taking the witness stand, it only underscores his many prodigious lies. He lied about everything, including his alibi. That clip you just played was yet another lie. And so it's very difficult to say to the jurors, yeah, I'm a big fat liar, but I want you to believe me now. There's a jury instruction, you know this, Will, you went to law school, in which the judge instructs the jurors as follows. If you find that a witness is lying about one thing, you may conclude the witness is lying about everything. And his story makes no sense. It has more holes than Swiss cheese. You would need a calculator to keep track of his many lies. And so, I think under this withering cross-examination, the decision to take the witness stand probably backfired.
So, Rebecca, I want to play for you a clip and then come back on the other side of this clip and talk about whether or not Murdaugh was, successful. Watch this.
That I believe that boat wreck is the reason why Paul and Maggie were killed. I believe that when Paul was charged criminally, there were so many misrepresentations of Paul that ended up in the media. I believe then and I believe today that the wrong person saw and read that.
So, Rebecca, I think there's this delicate tension that we all have where we understand the legal standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, and yet everybody watching gets a gut instinct, and I think the jury does as well. They get gut instincts. So the question is, for you, Rebecca, do you think that Murdaugh successfully spun enough stories? Everybody's saying he's a really good character on the stand. Did he spin enough reasonable doubt to overcome the jury's gut instinct?
Look, that's what I was thinking when I was watching him. I said, okay, well, this is a seasoned trial attorney, right? He's been in law. His family's been in law for generations. This man, his ego is tremendous. He's thinking, all I need is one person to have a reasonable doubt. All I need is to charm someone into believing that there's a doubt that I did it. Did this happen here? Possibly. Now, we haven't seen, there's a redirect on Monday from his attorney, which means his attorney is going to try to correct all of the holes the prosecutors made. The redirect will try to fill those holes. If there's one person on the jury that gets caught up in the charm, that gets caught up in the family history with this man, reasonable doubt. Look, that doesn't mean he gets off. That means there could be a mistrial, and then the prosecution could choose to try him again. But when you're in a situation with someone like this who wants to take the stand, who is an attorney, you're hoping, I think that's his hope, that he can just con one person.
Throw as many things against the wall,
exactly.
Tell as many stories. And he's a good storyteller as he goes. So that being said, I'm going to ask you both this. We'll go in reverse order. I'll go with Rebecca, then Greg. In your mind, Rebecca, what is the piece of evidence or the one fact We've got the steps that he took afterwards, pacing, quickly and dramatically about after the murders. The fact that he was there 2 minutes before the murders and lied about it. So what's the one piece of evidence or one fact that he has to overcome that you find the most compelling for his guilt to the jury?
I think it's the time frame with him leaving. There's argument that there were dogs there, they would be barking, that the gunshot, he didn't hear anything, 2 minutes. He's out of earshot of everything. I think that is a very big problem for him.
And Greg, same question to you. What is the one fact or piece of evidence he cannot overcome?
Well, it is his dead son's cell phone, which places him at the scene of the crime almost, literally moments before the murders. But on top of that, then he claims that he went over and touched the bodies, checked them, tried to turn his son's body over. Those bodies were covered with blood. He'd have blood on him, and yet there's no blood on the defendant. So again, these are stories he's telling that defy common sense.
All right, what a great conversation. Rebecca Rose Woodland, Greg Jarrett, thank you so much for putting it into expertise and context this morning. All right, coming up, the U.S. is sending more troops to Taiwan as China tensions grow. But back at home, there's a concern of low recruitment in our military because of woke policies. A retired Navy SEAL sounds off next.
There is an entire generation searching for